I've not brought myself to watch the show. I do this thing. I get too excited for things. I can't do it. I have to like ease myself into it. I just keep rewatching the movie. My name is Hannah. I'm Hannah.n.Wonderland on all my socials. I make spooky coloring books that have self-care stories in them. And then I color those and do other art on my YouTube channel. And I also color them while I do a true crime and true crime adjacent stories called Why the F Would You Do That? Where I talk about people that just make really harmful choices with seemingly no gain. I love the area. Austin's definitely more fun than Dallas, but I like living here. There's spooky stuff everywhere. There's the horror museum. It's just more artsy. It's definitely more my scene. It's just not as easy to live there as it is to live here. I'm studying family therapy, so my bachelor's was like sociology with emphasis on psychology, and then therapy with family units, trauma, things like that is what I want to work in eventually. I really like the combination of spooky and cutesy stuff. I feel like that's kind of my vibe. I'm very Disney, Halloween, Beetlejuice, and part of the reason I do the true crime stuff, I'm just a very anxious person, so I have a lot of weighted blankets, stuffy stuff like that to just feel more comfy. So I started Instagram. I had actually deleted my account whenever I was just trying to focus on getting back to the bare minimum of things and just kind of figure out what I want to do basically with my grown-up life. And whenever I restarted it, I wanted to just sort of share all the things that I had learned whenever I started taking better care of myself. And so that's what prompted the self-care stories and the coloring book. And I was posting a lot about that. And I found myself doing a lot of spooky posts within that. So I was like, I'm going to make a separate page for my spooky stuff and then have my main page for my main stuff. I love spooky things, so. I always have. I don't know. I think part of it is, like I said, I'm just a very anxious person. And I honestly think it's kind of funny what people find scary and then sort of contrasting with the true crime things that I talk about. A lot of the people that you see that are doing things that are truly terrifying look nothing like the people in all the spooky stories. And that's just what really scares me. So anything that's spooky coded, I just love because I just think it's fun and silly. I find it more fun, like the Chucky stuff, the Annabelle stuff, anything paranormal. I don't really believe in it. I know those are always the people that get hurt in the movies, right? But I definitely don't actually believe in that. What scares me is the crazy things I see people doing. That's what terrifies me. It kind of goes back to my mental health. I was always sort of compared to Dorothy from Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland, Coraline, all those characters that are sort of off in their own world. And I kind of wanted to embrace that whenever I made Hannah in Wonderland because it's something that I used to not like about myself, but now I think it makes me a really good artist that I'm always looking at things in a different way and off in my own world, and I want to be able to share that. So that's why I made the Wonderland theme. I was hard on myself about I zone out a lot, off of my own world a lot. It always got me into trouble, but now I think I'm able to utilize it in a way that's more productive and fun. My channel started out with me sharing just my experiences and going through a bucket list, and YouTube is just one of the things that I always wanted to do, but I felt too anxious to do it. I was like, I'm just going to start it. And the things that you find yourself naturally spending all your time on, I think that makes the most sense to make your content about. And when I tell you I spend hours going down these rabbit holes about these wackadoodles, I should just make my channel about this because it's all I'm reading about all the time. The process to prepare is honestly just whatever story I won't stop yapping about and my friends are tired of hearing about. I'm like, okay, that's the one for this week. I have so many backlogged in my brain I've been wanting to talk about forever. Hopefully as I go, I'll get more suggestions and things like that. I call them my rabbit holes, like Hannah in Wonderland. It's whoever I really just can't stop thinking about. That's who I decide to share for my story. And then I find a day that I feel like putting makeup on and record. I think this is the most brutal one. It's Erin Caffey. She was 16 years old at the time that she helped orchestrate the murder of her family. A group of 4 kids ranging from, I say kids 16 to 20. It's particularly disturbing because it was just so senseless. How brutal it was and how senseless it was, that one really stuck with me. And then the first episode I did ever was Tanya Head, and that was the lady who lied about surviving 9/11. And that one really stuck with me because why? I just could not find the motive there. So I think those ones that just have truly, truly, truly no motive are the ones that stick in my brain. I have 4 out total so far. Okay, so this is being dramatic for 73 pages, and it's literally 73 dramatic images. You can see Boohoo with the little ghost tears. My spooky one, this is the only one that doesn't have poetry in it. Wanted to make one for the girls like me, the soft girlies with lots of feelings. And that one was sort of just to help me laugh at myself about struggling with sensitivity. This one is We're All Mad Here Sometimes, Let's Relax in Color. This has a self-care story, and it also has color as you go, little mental health markers. So this one just sort of help with gratitude. It says like color whenever you forgive yourself for having a dodo bird moment, color whenever you wash your beautiful face, and they're very Alice coded. This is my newest one. It has classic quotes, Alice.n.Wonderland quotes, of course. And this one has bookmarks that you can cut out, color bookmarks and cut them out. I think that's super cute. And then this is my biggest one. This is the original one that has the self-care story. It has 37 ways to say no inside. My plate is full is one of them. And then at the end, it has 100 cute sheets, 3 to 4 times bigger than the average coloring book. I have all 4 of those out right now on Amazon. I grew up watching 2010s YouTubers, and I felt like that was always a thing. They had the really cool backgrounds. So I made my 37 ways to say no. I ripped some out. I have several copies of my books, of course, and I just colored them, which you can see videos on my YouTube shorts of me coloring and creating this wall. So I tore them out and then I kind of put them up, and I just think it's like a cool full circle thing of how I started out my little social media journey, and then now I'm here doing YouTube, and I get to include the first thing I made for Hannah.n.Wonderland. So I thought that was cool. I love Tiffany Valentine. Yeah, she's from Chucky. She's so cute. I got this at a haunted house with my friends. I was so excited. It's supposed to be an ornament, but I can't open her. I want to keep her in the box. Okay, I've not brought myself to watch the show. I do this thing. I get too excited for things. I can't do it. I have to ease myself into it. I just keep rewatching the movie. Silly, goofy stuff. I feel like Chucky is kind of like that. Terrifier in a way is like that. Very gory, but it's goofy and ridiculous. And I like to laugh, and I love spooky stuff. So anything like that. I like Grady Hendrix a lot as far as horror books. He wrote the Southern Book Club for Vampires. I haven't read my best friend's Exorcism yet. The Final Girl Support Group was probably one of my favorite horror books. It's a book about girls that survived the stories they make slashers movies off of, and then having a support group. I saw Terrifier 3 in the theaters. I was so pumped for it. I actually posted my outfit. I had all these different black and white outfits ready for it. And at some point I want to do a Clown Cafe fan art thing. It's on my list for this year. I really, really, really loved all 3 Terrifiers, just visually. There's like so much fan art to be made. But I would like all the Grimm fairy tales. I feel like the original ones are pretty twisted, and I love the girls that do the Grimm fairy tale endings with all the princesses and stuff. They'll have Snow White look like she has the poison apple, Ariel frostbite and drown and all that. Anything creepy meets girly is definitely my vibe. I think what makes Terrifier fun is it's so gory and so ridiculous that if you watch a lot of true crime stuff, if you watch all those things, you know, one, that's just not how it happens. And something else I like about Terrifier, besides the visuals are just crazy, I feel like they try to do like an older horror movie vibe. In Terrifier 3, the people walked out of the theater during this part, the religious part, but I thought that the way that they did those visuals, I'm Christian, but I still thought the visuals were sick with the crown and all the stuff they did with the Christmas lights. I thought that was really uniquely done. I loved the way that art reacted to Santa. I thought that was hilarious. I also think it's really funny how they make fun of people like me, that girl that wanted to interview the brother so bad for her true crime podcast and was like dying about meeting art. That's literally me. I love that they sort of make fun of us. These movies are a little bit older, but they were new to me. I recently watched the Creep movies. I thought they were so good. I really liked the second one because the girl's channel idea is 100% something I would do. The Strange Encounters, where she makes YouTube videos about people she meets on Craigslist. If I were braver, oh my god, I would be all over that, but I'm too scared. I was never really scared by like the traditionally scary stuff. But the first time I remember watching a movie and like not being able to sleep was actually called The Lovely Bones. It's about this creepy neighbor that ends up kidnapping a bunch of girls, and that just, oh my gosh, that terrified me so bad. I would say definitely. I mean, I found community in it with people that are a lot like myself, are anxious about the regular things and really like the spooky things. I think it can point out and exaggerate things that we already are afraid of and help us look at it. I think it can help us analyze our own fears, meet a bunch of cool people if you're also into horror. I think it's a really cool community builder. Horror can help people feel less scared, but first of all, just because the distraction. I mean, I often put on something more intense whenever I'm not wanting to think about something that's maybe less traditionally scary to distract myself. And I also think seeing it in such a hyperbolic way can just make things less scary. What is the likelihood that someone's really going to jump out at me like this? What is the likelihood that there's a monster under my bed? Very slim to none. Seeing those things on screen can be cathartic in a way. The more ridiculous the gore is, the more comforted I feel about how anxious I am, because it just makes it look silly almost. Especially in Terrifier, where everything's just like gushing, the way they do the lighting and stuff to make it just seem more vintage. It just makes it an art form, and it makes it feel less real than it is. I definitely love supporting indie artists. I've been getting a lot of support from them. Somebody that I found from the horror mosaics is Our Life in Horror. It's like a couple that does like a horror podcast. They're super cute. I love Not Really Dre. She's truly like my favorite indie pop artist, really my favorite pop artist. We do a lot of collabs together. We're actually going to be shooting a calendar this year. That's going to be kind of my Wonderland vibe, but with Dre as the model. I'm really excited for that. As far as other YouTubers, the Talk Bloody to Me podcast, like I said earlier, I'm really weird about watching new movies, and they'll recap all the classic horror movies if you don't want to like rewatch everything before a new one comes out. Yeah, lots of really good small artists out there. Spice Racks and Paperbacks. Okay, that's my last one. She's Bookstagrammer. She's a really cool bookstagrammer that makes the food that she reads about in books, which I think is really cool. Christianity and horror is just, it's very interesting. It's one of those things, whenever I was a teacher, I wouldn't really get on the kids for cussing too much. Like, I'd let them know they're not supposed to do that, but I would get on them more for being harsh towards someone or being rude towards someone. And I think that's where it's kind of similar with Christianity and horror movies, is I think it's more about how it looks on paper rather than the actual messaging of the movie. Because first of all, something my preacher used to say is God's not scared of your questions. And I think if God's not scared of your questions, God's not scared of you enjoying a gore movie on Halloween. I think it's a lot more important to make sure that you're being selective about what messages you follow versus what you're consuming. I think if you have a good relationship with God, you can consume anything and still stand strong in your beliefs. I get if you're scared, not watching it because you're scared, but I think to like completely shun them is very silly and very hypocritical. And I also think some of the movies have good messaging. The Saw movies, gratitude. He said some stuff that made you think a lot about gratitude. Christianity to me is more about the decisions and how you're acting, and I don't think God would be afraid of a horror movie. I liked the religious themes that I saw in Terrifier. I think this is where me growing up, a preacher's daughter kind of sets in, because I'm always like, oh, I'll watch horror, but if it's directly religious, that I feel scared to watch it. Not scared like I'm scared of the movie, but scared like I'm doing something bad. I think whenever it's really heavy on the religion, that's where I feel that guilt about watching horror. I always say thanks for your eyeballs at the beginning of everything, and I really do mean that. I have people message me saying they're saving up to buy something, because I do sell a few things, but I really truly so grateful that people care enough to watch my stuff, and the people that have told me that my writing or art has helped them feel better about neurodivergence, about depression, about feeling out of place. It's just meant the world to me, and it's why I do it. So I'm just really grateful for the community that I built. I think the biggest part for me, something that I struggled with, was just always feeling misunderstood. And I feel like art is my way of being able to just explain how I see the world. And I think it's really cathartic. And people that feel the same way as me have been able to connect with it. Something really cool is somebody that is neurodivergent has a lot of trouble making connections. It's just been a really cool way to feel understood and connect with people that feel the same way. I really honestly just hope that people get something out of my art. I really feel like the year before I made it, I came into my body for the first time. I'd worked through so much and really discovered a lot about being neurodivergent and growing up with trauma, and that there is a way forward that doesn't have to be completely defined by that. It can be part of your life and not all of your life, and that just because you got burnt out for a while or didn't start at the age you wanted to doesn't mean you have no chance. And I hope that people see me doing all my art stuff later in life and feel inspired by that. Thanks for your eyeballs. Bye!